Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy, and I'm here with the crew here. We got a bunch of guys here today, and we're gonna start breaking it down, talking New York Knicks. We got Freezy, we got Andy, we got Nate, we got Josh is back in the building after taking a cross-country trip. And we got a few things to talk about, so let's go ahead and get with it. Fellas, what's poppin' with you, man? How you guys feeling today? And I got two of me on the screen. Let me get one of them off. There we go. Bam. That looks better. Josh, how you feeling, man?
Another day, another dollar. You know how that goes. Knicks Nation, what's going on? What's going on, family? How y'all doing in the chat?
Oh, yeah. Big shout out to everybody that's on YouTube, everybody that's on Sportscaster. You know, and as you all probably know, in about an hour or so, we'll be exclusively on Sportscaster. So, that link will be in the YouTube chat, and it'll also be in the description. So, don't forget about that. Nate, what's poppin' with you, man? It's been a while. Well, I don't know where you've been. It's been a while.
Yeah, man, it's been a hot minute. No, to be honest with you, Sim, I really have not been motivated to talk Knicks, man. I don't know if it's just the bubble or whatever it is, but I don't know, man. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and the Knicks moves have not really moved the needle for me. Hopefully the offseason will be better and the draft will be, hiring Thibodeau. He'll hire Thibodeau. I like the pick, but I just don't know how it fits and all that. I don't know. Just a lot of questions with the Knicks right now. Who's going to stay? Who's going to go? There's rumors everywhere. It seems like every player has a rumor, stay or go or whatever it is. We got free agency coming up. We got the draft coming up. It's going to start picking up.
And that's what we're here to talk about. We're talking about all of those things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, while it's not a lot happening with the Knicks on the court or, things like that, there's a lot happening as far as rumors. Rumors are always fun to talk about. Pretty soon we'll have something real to stick our teeth into, but, rumors are always fun to talk about. Andy, what's going on with you, man?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to pop up, bro. No show on Friday, no show whole weekend. So, bro, I was waiting every evening for you.
Yeah, man. I'll be back. I wanted to do a Saturday. Everything just got away from me. I had a lot of stuff that I'm doing in the house, home repairs and stuff like that. Things just got away, man. But I'm definitely coming in and doing the Frank Ntilikina Coach's Corner on Friday.
I'll be there.
You know what I mean? Frank Ntilikina Coach's Corner on Friday. Anyway, what else going on with you, man? Anything else?
No, I'm happy to finally, every day there's a rumor, but today we got not only the rumor that the Knicks might trade down, we also have the information that the whole NBA got the memo that they're going to be able to work out players. So, that's going to be fun. That's going to be a little bit limited, but not as much as they were thinking. So every team is going to be available to ask, players for a 4.5-hour workout. So that's quite the news. Wonder, if like they said in the article, that the major market teams are going to have the advantage because, that they're going to be able only to work out 10 players. So if you got 3 picks like we have, right, you got to think, about the top pick, about the 27th pick and the second round pick, right? So that's going to be, the problem that we're going to be stuck. I wonder if they might, apply a rule that for every pick you have, you're going to have 10 workouts. That would be, a smart thing to do because that's where you limit teams like that have multiple picks, to only 10 players working out. Not kind of fair in this kind of draft.
Right. So maybe they'll do something instead of saying 10 workouts for every pick. Maybe they'll say you can
extra 5 each pick or something like that.
Extra right? 5, something like that. Because players, teams have been working with players, through Zoom, watching them work out through Zoom and stuff like that, or it doesn't have to be Zoom, any kind of virtual platform. You can't see much you just can't see much, right? You can't really see the speed of a player, the strength of a player, the intensity of a player. You can't see. All you can see is that the guy can shoot, or has good stance, has good form, has those type of things. But you can't really see, like I said, the speed, the strength, and all of that kind of stuff.
There's nothing like a live workout, right? So.
Right. And I'm assuming that they're not going to be able to like have what do you want to call it? Two players working out together.
No.
Right?
There's going to be a single thing, and the other thing that they put out only on that topic, that the team is going to be able to give away maximum of $500 worth of team gear for the guy to work out, right? So it's probably going to be a couple of t-shirts, a couple of things. That's why I think they might be able to film them or make a couple of photos and post to the PR pages of each team. So
okay all right.
$500. That's it. Only $500.
So there's not going to be any bidding war at that point, right?
Right. $500. I mean, how much money of team gear do you got to give them anyway? Give them a shirt and the shorts.
Dude, $500 for a pair of sneakers nowadays.
I mean, come on.
I'm guessing you're gonna have to be in your own sneakers.
Sim.
What's up?
I just wanted to say the King is back. It's been a little while, man. But the King's finally here. I know everybody's missed me. It feels good to be back in my hometown. The champ is here. Shout out to Andy, man. Shout out to Josh, aka the hater. Shout out to Nate with the beard, Uncle Freezy with the baldy, Justin in the dark, and Mark. I'm sorry, Mark, about KP, man. But it's gonna be a good show tonight, man. I got my peoples in tonight, man.
Why you stalling?
You know what it is, Mark. I ain't been there in a minute, man. I'm trying to say what I say, everybody.
It's all right. I can't really get a nice high. But it's all right.
What's up, Mark? What's going on, brother?
Another rainy day in New York City, man. What is it else to
It's
do?
raining here in Connecticut, man. Don't feel bad.
And it's beautiful and sunny in Florida. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nobody want to live in Florida.
Coronavirus, man. I don't want to hear that.
Well, let's get to the get down and start talking a little bit of stuff, man. Big Freezy, I didn't get a chance to hear from you yet, though. What's up with you, Big Freezy? And let me send you a let me get you unmuted here.
You must say Big Freezy always freezing.
Bam, there it is. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on with you, bro? How you feeling?
Hey, man, I'm good, man. I'm excited about all the off-season rumors and such, and looking forward to exchanging ideas with everybody about all the stuff that's going on concerning the Knicks.
All right, well, let's start here then. Let's start here. So the story out right now is that the Knicks are really interested in moving down in the draft, right? Trading that 8 pick and moving that 8 pick down. Tell me how you feel about that. And I'm going to get around to everybody. I need you guys to just pay attention because, right now I got it where I've got to unmute you. So I will send you a request to unmute. All right.
Okay. I'm excited about the trade down possibilities because, for one, I think the Knicks should be targeting at that middle, wherever it is. I think we should be targeting a cat like either one or two players, either Aaron Nesmith or a Sadiq Bey type, right? I don't think you should grab those players at 8. You know what I mean? I think in Sadiq Bey, you get kind of like that Shane Battier, Mook Morris type player that gives you positional flexibility, you know what I'm saying, on the wing. and in Aaron Nesmith, he gives you what you've desperately been looking for: guys that can drive to the basket and get to the free throw line, because he did it at a rate of 4.5 times a game, and he gives you knockdown shooting. So, like when we saw your breakdown of the spacing, the Knicks spacing. And I want to reference the video. I forget what the title of it is, but basically what it was is Knicks players not exactly spacing the floor on their own. I think Aaron Nesmith basically steps right in and fixes that.
Okay, you froze up on us, Freezy. Let me get to Josh, and then I'm gonna come to Andy. Josh, what do you think, man? What do you think about this moving down?
I mean, if everyone feels that it's a weak draft and you're not going to really get that much bang for your buck at the 8th spot or either anywhere in the top 10, then moving down is a smart decision. I mean, it's a smart decision. However,
is the however. I knew it.
I want to see this Knicks team win. It's playoffs or bust. I want to see this Knicks team win, and I would rather the Knicks get someone in the draft who can contribute right away. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, I gotta live with it no matter what. But I'd rather have them, draft someone that can help the team win, like right now, like win games right now, not win a championship, not be a perennial playoff contender, but next year the team needs to be good. So
you don't think? All right, you don't think there's anybody that's in maybe that the mid draft, in the middle of the draft, that can produce now?
I mean, I think there's people that can produce now, but the question is how many minutes is that person going to be able to get, number one, under Thibodeau, and two, with those minutes, is he going to be able to come in and be a difference maker on the floor? I don't really see that in this draft at all. Outside the top 4 guys, with Toppin being that 4th guy, I don't see anybody else really, contributing right away and helping the team, win games right away.
So
after the top 4.
So if they're at 8, right? They're not in the top 4. They're at 8.
Right.
So then, if you don't see anybody that can come in right away, besides the top 4, right? Because I do think Obi Toppin will contribute right away. Everyone else is a crapshoot, right? Or at least you think it's going to be a crapshoot. There's going to be some guys that can contribute, but I guess you don't know who's going to be able to do what.
Correct.
Right? Then maybe moving down, I mean, it is good because you can get it. Like they said, they'd like to get another young player that's on their rookie contract, and then you get someone with that 14th or 15th pick or something like that. Here's the thing: if the Knicks don't feel like if they feel like Leon Rose said, there's a lot of equality after the first 3 picks, right? A lot of equality. If the Knicks feel like there's a lot of equality after the first pick, why don't other teams feel the same way? Other teams are probably going to feel the exact same way.
I know they do.
Right.
They do. So, that's why I think it will be fine if the Knicks actually do move down and try to get an extra pick in there. I'm not totally against it. I'm just saying, whoever they get, whatever player they decide to get, he needs to contribute right away. And I think there's a question with Thibodeau being the coach if that this draft pick is going to be able to contribute right away. And I'm under the mindset that even though the outside the top 4 is not as good per se, I'm under the mindset that the higher you draft, the better the player should be. So that's why that's my only thing with that. But if they do decide to move down and get an extra pick, and an extra asset, then I'm all for it. But they need to win. I want to see them win. So
okay, Mark, talk to me, Mark. What do you think about it? The Knicks moving down in the draft, picking up an extra player from whoever they trade with, an extra a rookie or a guy who's on his rookie contract, and then moving down in the draft. What would you do it? What do you think?
So, okay, so I would do it depending on the team. Yeah, depending on the team that we play, the team that we trade with. What happened?
Huh?
Repeat yourself. What you said?
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying. Like I said, it depends on the team that we trade with. I would do it. I'll bring him back.
KP.
I'll bring him back.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark. I was just saying KP. I was just messing with you. I was saying KP. I don't think you heard me though. But go ahead.
No, I heard you. I'll bring him back if that was the case.
You'll bring who back?
But I'll bring back KP if that's what you want.
Man, what are you talking about? I'm not talking about bringing back KP. I was just messing with you. Nobody talking about bringing back KP. Nobody wants that $30 million contract with busted knees. Both knees busted out. But anyway, I want to talk about moving down in the draft. What you think about moving down in the draft?
It kind of makes sense because we don't hear every week talking about who would we pick, and the players that's going to be around the 8th area. Those are players that's going to be that could service up to 10 to 15. Like those are the type of players who you would get amongst that range. Is that player going to be significant to a point where he's going to change your team other than like the top 4 that I believe that could contribute? I would do it depending on the team we trade with, because I would love to take back an asset and a pick, because that's what likely it would charge. Any team that would be traded for a pick would have to give us an asset and a 15th pick. And right. I could get Sadiq Bey. I could get one of those
you mentioned my boy.
Players.
You mentioned my boy. I was gonna bring him up. You mentioned my boy, but we'll get back and we'll talk about it a little bit later. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's him. It's 2 players who I would go and get at that spot. It's him and Tyler Terry. If I can get the 15th pick, I'm taking either Sadiq Bey or I'm taking Tyler Terry if he's going to be there. But I would take those 2 if they're there. If we trade, but I would take back an asset, because what this Knicks team is all about bringing back in talent, because we're not sure this 8th pick. We're not.
Right.
We're not, because we're looking at Vessel. We're looking at anybody else from the mocks. Vessel and up. We're not sure. So we might as well go trade for a player. Now, if it's with Orlando, if they're willing to give me back Markelle Fultz, I would take him. I would take him back. I would take him back, because I still think he has talent. When I watch him, I still think he has talent. I just think he needs the ball, and playing with Orlando, that's not his style of play. He wants to run and get out there, and I still think he has talent. I'll take him back and give me the 15th pick, and I'll go get another player.
So let me ask you. Let me ask you this: why would Orlando? And we're going to talk about Dennis Smith Jr. a little bit later.
But why would give me Aaron Gordon?
But why would Orlando? If the Knicks don't feel like there's too much parity after the top 4 picks, the Knicks, right?
Yeah, it is.
But if the Knicks feel that way, then why wouldn't Orlando feel that way? Why would they say, okay, you know what, we want to move up again, or any other team, we want to move up and get that 8th pick too?
Well, it could be number one, teams that want to move off money. Right? There's teams that want to move off players for money. That could be another thing we could do. We could take on a player and a pick. That's something a team like us should do if the opportunity arises. Or it is, this team don't feel confident about a player on our team. They end up moving that player to move down and take the pick because they're not sure picking at 8. Get rid of a player that they necessarily don't want on this team. That's the only scenario. If they're talking about trading down, is that you're trying to get someone off our team another player that a team might like. And if I'm Orlando, like they're saying, they intrigued with Dennis Smith, here, you can take him. I don't care what player they give me back. You can take him.
What I'm saying though is, why would another team feel like that 8th pick has value? If the Knicks don't feel like it has value, why would another team that has a pick at 14 or 15 feel like that 8th pick has value? Not that it doesn't have value, but that they can, you know what I'm saying?
In that, like I said, in that case, it's probably they want to move. They want to move off a contract. That could be one.
Okay.
That could only be the answer, and we're a team that can absorb contracts
Right.
at this moment of time. So we could give a player. We could give like I said, we can give two players with good contracts. Right. We have contracts where we could send them off, and they give us a player that I would probably want off their team, and the 15th pick, and they have the 8th pick. They win in all that because they still get a value pick and get off the contract that they don't want or the player they don't want on their team. Okay. So it could go both ways for both teams that way.
All right. Let me see. I'm gonna come to Justin. Justin, I want to know what you think about it. Give me a second. Let me send you a. Oh, there you go. You go. Talk to me, man. Why do you think? I don't know. What would you do? Would you move down?
No way, no how.
No way, no how. So you have your heart set on somebody specifically.
Why would you want to move down from the 8th pick to 15 to lower than that? It's like you said, this year after the top 4, top 5, it's a crapshoot. And with the Knicks, these whole past years, when we gambling, we've been losing.
But ain't that the reason why you would want to move down? Because like you're picking at 8, like you're picking at 8, and the expectations of a player at 8 is going to be way different than the expectations of a player at 15. Right?
I'd rather have the expectations of a player at 8. At least we know what we high on this player at 8. What if we move down and that player that we actually wanted might not even be available?
No, but what I'm saying is if you're at 8 and you pick a player, then the expectations of the fans, the expectations of the coaches, the expectations of anybody else is like, okay, we got this guy in the top 10. He better do something, right? Because we got him in the top 10. You get somebody at 15, it's like, well, all right, we got him at 15. The expectations aren't as high. You can give that kid a little bit more leeway, right? Because the expectations aren't as high. And because there's parity, it might be like you might pick whoever at 8, and then somebody else pick another player at 15, and that player ends up being, maybe a little bit more ready to play.
The only way I'll say, like, for the Knicks to do it is if they're going to trade with a team that the Knicks are going to get a player back in return that is going to be an immediate impact to the team. And that's the only way I'll do it.
I mean, it's sad from what I read, they would want to bring back a player that is on their rookie contract. You know what I'm saying? Does that player have an immediate impact? Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? I mean, looking at if I'm not sold on anybody, and Isaiah, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you, and Justin, you're still gonna be unmuted. If I'm not sold on anybody at 8, then I'd go ahead and do it, because me personally, I really do like Sadiq Bey. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Sadiq Bey is a perfect fit for this team, in my opinion. And Isaiah, I don't know, are you ready to give your opinion?
Yeah.
I feel like Sadiq Bey is a really good fit for this team. You can move him from the power forward spot to the 3 spot. He can rebound the ball. He's strong. He's NBA ready. Obviously, he can shoot the basketball. I know that he's slow, right? But he can defend. That's where my concern is. He can defend. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not, he doesn't defend with quick footwork. He defends by using angles and understanding how to use angles. To me, I'm fine with that as long as he can defend on the other side. On the offensive side of the floor, he can score. He's crafty, and I'm not looking for. I seen someone say Sadiq Bey is a role player. I'm okay with that. I don't need. I mean, you may not pull a superstar out this draft at 8. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with him being a role player. You need some people that fit some parts, some parts to fit together. You know what I mean? You need some people like that, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So I would be really good with taking Sadiq Bey. Isaiah, you look confused, but go ahead.
It's not me. I'm not the confused one. No, I was just looking at one of these orders. When it comes to the power to draft and stuff, I mean, trading down isn't bad because of the value is gonna be there and stuff. I just think personally, like, I think that shows that because a lot of teams are talking about trading down. It's just not the Knicks. So you see, I think a lot of teams are seeing the value of the second half of the draft, where there's going to be a lot of good role players, a lot of players that they can cog in there. And if the Knicks can trade back, I'm down for that. I mean, I'm personally a big Vassell guy. That's my guy. That's what I want the Knicks to pick. So, if they can still get him and still get a player that they want, I'm really down for that. There's no problem with me with that. Just before what not Josh, I was thinking who said that? Justin was saying before, like, trying to get a player, an impact player, and I don't think draft trading really works like that. It's really hard for that to really work like that. We get an impact player, especially if you want to go on a rookie contract. That means that usually the team kind of gave up on that player. Mm-hmm. But I would be more into if we're going to trade down to get another draft pick in this draft, or maybe 2021, which I don't think nobody's going to really trade 2021 because
they're not moving them joints. They're not moving them joints.
The talent in that. You know what's going to be funny, Sam?
They're not moving them joints.
It would be really funny if this draft is more talented than 2021. That's going to be really funny.
That would be crazy. You never know how things are going to end up. That would be crazy.
So remember, because the funny thing is, they're hyping this draft up like they did 2014. So I'm just hoping it's not going to be another one of those. But I'm really down for that. If we can get another player, if we can get another draft pick, because I'm really big into Carol Lewis and the other kid, the other small forward, Tyler Bey or something like that. I forget his name, but he's a really good scoring guard. He's scoring forward. So I'm really big into that. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Right. Shout out to Andy, man. That's my boy, man. Shout out to Andy, man. The Polish king.
So let me ask y'all this. I got Isaiah, Josh, and Evergreen.
Yo, Evergreen, you always driving, man.
Evergreen,
driving,
just real quick, tell me what you think about it, and then I want to talk about James Wiseman real quick. But tell me real quick what you think about moving back, and who would you get if you did?
I'm not moving back. I'm not moving back. I'm staying right where I'm at because I have my eyes on Devin Vassell. I've had my eyes on Devin Vassell, however you want to pronounce his name. I'm all in on Devin Vassell or Vassell, whatever you want to call him. I'm actually thinking to attempt to move up to the teams with moving the 27th pick, 38th pick, and maybe one or two players that we have on our 1-and-1 contracts to try to get to the teams to potentially either do a combination of drafting Devin Vassell and Sadiq Bey or Devin Vassell and Kira Lewis. It all depends on what we have with as far as stock in what we currently have at the point guard position. If we believe in our point guards wholeheartedly between Frank DSJ and Jared Harper, then I'm sticking with them three and I'm drafting Sadiq Bey. If we don't believe in one of those guys, then I'm drafting Kira Lewis and I'm rocking like that. Like, moving down in the draft statistically, never really popped off with the exception of the Trae Young, Luka Doncic scenario, right? When has trading down been truly successful for
Boston
for any team?
Boston.
For with Boston, where they got
they didn't trade far down though, so I guess maybe this don't really count, because they traded the number 1 pick, and then they drafted Jason Tatum. Now, obviously, they didn't trade down too far, right?
That's different. That's going from the number 1 pick because you are sure that the player you're actually interested in is there. We don't know what teams are interested in because the draft is so, allegedly so even spread. And just like my man said earlier, like, if we trade down, who does the team have their eyes on? If we decide to trade down, even if you trade down 2 or 3 spots, is the guy you actually want going to be there? Now, fortunately, I think that Devin Vassell is the guy that I want, and I don't think that he's going to be there if we trade down. I think he's going to be gone.
Right, but the thing is, do the Knicks have the same value for Devin Vassell that you do or that fans do? That's the question. Right. Do they have the same? Right. Do they value him the same, or do they think that they can get the same player, somewhere at a lower level? They may be looking at 3 or 4 guys that they say we can get the same production from this guy right here. One of them is Tyrese Maxey. This is what the report says, right? That the Knicks have some interest in Tyrese Maxey, which could be there at a lower pick. And then obviously the Knicks have Kenny Payne on staff, who was just working with Tyrese Maxey. I think we had this conversation before. What if that's the guy that they have their eye on?
I mean, I'm not worried about what they got their eye on. I mean, we talking about what I want. You know what I'm saying? I get it, right? I completely understand. I'm looking at the overall makeup of the team right now and what we need and who fits the bill. Right now, it's obvious that we need perimeter shooting and we need perimeter defense. Right? I would think that is the most, just because the point guards that we have, I personally don't believe that they've been given a fair shot. So I'm willing to gamble on them and at least fill out the rest of the team and possibly hope for getting a point guard in the 2021 draft. So I'm all about a Devin Vassell, who is a defensive player, who is a damn good shooter, and then Sadiq Bey, who is literally what we would like Bobby Portis to be. Right? Is that true? Like,
pretty much.
We want Bobby Portis to play defense, but we know Bobby Portis can shoot. Bobby Portis didn't play that good at defense this season, and he didn't shoot that well up until towards the end of the short season. Yeah. So I would like Sadiq Bey, and I would like Devin Vassell. Those are my 2 guys.
Okay. The only thing with Sadiq Bey, with your comparison to Bobby Portis, I love Sadiq Bey, right? The only thing with the comparison to Bobby Portis is the height, right? Sadiq Bey is like 6'8", 6'9", or something like that. Bobby Portis is like 7 foot. So I think Bobby Portis is kind of providing you that stretch center, stretch 4 type of position, where Sadiq Bey is going to be more the stretch 4, sometimes a 3 type of position, but still, but I get it. I get what you're saying, though.
Now, who's going to be better, regardless of where you sit him at, who's going to be better on the defensive end sitting next to Mitchell Robinson?
No,
right. I would much rather have Bobby Portis coming off the bench for Mitchell Robinson than Bobby Portis starting next to Mitchell Robinson. So, you know what I mean? I would much rather have Sadiq Bey coming off the bench for Julius Randle as a real viable shooting option, right? Than Bobby Portis coming off the bench for Julius Randle, and now we really have a crappy defensive frontcourt. No. So I would much rather put Sadiq Bey coming off the bench for Julius Randle, Bobby Portis coming off the bench for Mitchell Robinson, and at least when you sub both of those guys down, you still have slightly better defense in the paint. With Sadiq Bey, you're picking up what Mitchell Robinson can't do on the arc, and you're putting Bobby Portis out there.
Yeah.
That's just my idea, my makeup of it.
Okay. So let me ask you guys this. How much do you think? Evergreen just brought up Mitchell Robinson, right? And so you heard in a report that the Knicks also think that James Wiseman, like they would draft James Wiseman. Obviously, if he's there, he's not going to be there at 8. But if he was there at 8, I guess you would be crazy not to draft him. Anyway, regardless of who you have on your team. What is the value, do you think, this regime, Coach Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose, what value do you think they have on Mitchell Robinson? Or have for Mitchell Robinson? Or how much do they value Mitchell Robinson, right? Also, in that draft, they kind of mentioned, and I think it's unfair. I really think it's unfair. They mentioned in the report, not the draft, they mentioned in the report that Mitchell Robinson wasn't at wasn't in the bubble. I think it's unfair because the bubble was not a requirement, right? He had, they cited personal issues, which, we know he had a child. Right? And I'm assuming that's the personal issues. I just think it's unfair to use that, the fact that he didn't go to the bubble, which was voluntary, as a way to say, maybe they're not high on him. But where do you think they hold Mitchell Robinson?
Can I go first? Who going first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I go first?
Yeah, go ahead, Evergreen.
All right. So I think the fact that Thibodeau named Mitchell Robinson in the very first interview he had shows that he still has high value for him. I try to be a fair guy and consider things that, in the same vein that you just did just now, where maybe there is something truly going on. But with that being said, the team, found a liking for players that actually came in and put in hard work. And I'm only bringing this up just to make a comparison for Mitchell Robinson. DSJ got to work early. They said he was out there
right.
and working with them 3 weeks early. So,
right.
Mitchell Robinson's not there. I'm sure they probably, I don't want them to consider that. Mitchell Robinson, we should put him on a trade blocker because he's not showing dedication to the team because he's not there. But it's definitely something that they put in the back of their mind. Now, even if, assuming that, you're crazy if James Wiseman is there and you don't take him, I don't see why we can't have both. Like, why is that a problem to where we have two players that can, essentially do the same thing? A lot of people look negatively and was like, Mitchell Robinson and James Wiseman are the same guy. Why is that a problem? Right now, JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard are damn near the same guy. Why is that a problem? They just won a championship. I get it. LeBron's over there.
I think the difference is where they are in their career, right? You look at the Lakers and wait, I just forgot those. Who'd you just mention again?
JaVale McGee and Dwight.
JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, right? So you look at those guys, and Dwight Howard, I mean, he's on, probably the last leg of his career. JaVale McGee is, in the, I don't know, maybe in the middle of his career, but he's always been a guy who sometimes started, sometimes came off the bench. They've been in the league for a while, okay? These are two young guys that are, I have no problem with them fighting for, a starting spot. You know what I'm saying? But these are two young guys that are really going to need significant time and at some point need to be that starter to see can I be the starter or not. You know what I'm saying?
So I think that the idea that we have of starting, I'm not a fan of saying he's the starter. I get it. Like, a guy having consistency is what we want as far as the way they're going to play. But I look at it like, is it a starting issue or is it a minutes issue? Because I think that Mitchell Robinson can do good, and still put up the same amount of numbers at 24 minutes a game. If he was to split that in half with a James Wiseman, hypothetically speaking, like, it's not a starting issue for me. I don't care who starts. I care who plays. That's what's more important to me.
I get that, but I think at some point it does come down to, because I agree with you, right? The minutes mean way more than who starts the game, who finishes the game means way more than who starts the game, right? But then that comes down to be an issue too, because then you get down to it and you say, all right, who's at some point both of those players are going to say, I should be the primary center.
Yep.
Whichever way it comes down to it being, you start or you finish the games, at some point I think both are going to say, I should be the primary center. And then, I guess you got to figure it out. I don't know. Having them here both at the same time for a little while, I wouldn't have a problem with. Right. And then you kind of figure out, okay, who's my primary guy? And then you got to break it to one, like, hey, this, I think Mitch or I think James is my primary guy, you're either going to have to accept this role, as the backup guy, or we can work out something else. I think it definitely comes down to that at any position in the NBA. So instead of saying starter, like who is the primary guy? Who's going to be the guy when it comes down to it? We're giving you the minutes because we know you're going to get the job done. You know what I mean? And I don't think either one of those guys can be a 4.
Right. So what it sounds like is that that's a culture issue, right? If a player can come in and say, I should be that, I should be this player, I should be that player, that sounds like that's a culture issue that needs to be established by the coaches, right? If a player thinks he has the audacity to come in and say, I should be this, I should be that, while he's on contract, then let the coaches make that decision and decide that. That's not what a player does.
I know. What I'm saying is a player is not going to dictate to the coach, but inside a player is going to feel like I should be the primary guy as a coach, right? When I put my team out on the floor, I have some guys, some people, some players that I know are my primary players at this position. I may have some positions that I have 2 players that are equally the same. So one day I start this player, one day I start that player, or sometime this player finishes or that player finishes, whatever it is, right? But a lot comes down to confidence, the confidence the coach has in their players. So at some point, I have players that I know when it gets down to crunch time, unless this player is just awfully bad this game, this is the guy that I'm going with, or this is the lady that I'm going with. Right? Because I know that this player is going to get it done. This is my primary point guard. This is my primary shooting guard. I feel like a lot of times when you have a position, unless you have 2 stars, like just 2 superstars at the same position, and you got to make a decision who the primary guy is. But if you have that, both those guys are going to be in the lineup and on the floor anyway. I think when you get to that point where you're okay, one day I'm starting this guy, one day I'm starting that guy, one day this guy finishes, one day that guy finishes. That happens, of course, but when you're doing it all the time, to me, that means you have a talent issue, right? You have a problem with the talent because you don't have one guy that can just dominate and is your clear cut, this is my primary guy at this position. To me, that says you have a talent issue. And if you look at the Knicks, it happens, right? It's been happening over the years. They're starting this guy, starting that guy. Look at the point guard position. There was not one dominant primary guy, so they continue to have a rotating door. So I think it would come down to that. I wouldn't have a problem with them being there, battling it out, and then whoever wins that primary spot gets that primary spot because they're the better player.
Right.
I just wonder how much they value Mitchell Robinson truly. I don't know because of the way, and I asked it a long time ago, because of the way that Tom Thibodeau likes to play the basketball game. I don't know if Mitchell Robinson fits that with Tom Thibodeau. I've never really seen Tom Thibodeau have a center like Mitchell Robinson, a rim runner like Mitchell Robinson. So I'm just not sure. I'm not saying anything against Mitchell Robinson, guys, so let's not put it that way. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? Josh, what were you going to say? Go ahead and jump in there.
Okay, so I just want to respond to what Evergreen said. So I don't think, a couple things. First of all, I don't think the 2 big man system kind of works in the NBA anymore. We've seen teams try to do this with, Detroit when they had Andre Drummond and Greg Monroe. That didn't work out. The Knicks did it some time ago. They tried to do Jerome James and Eddie Curry, and that didn't work out.
Yeah, but look who they had. You said Jerome James and Eddie Curry. Look who they had. Of course that wasn't going to work out.
I know, but in all seriousness, I just don't think that's going to be the right thing for the Knicks to do. I think all this talk about James Wiseman is one of those things that the Knicks are just putting out there, just to get people talking. But I don't really think they want James Wiseman. I think Mitchell Robinson is their guy. Scott Perry's the one who drafted him, and I think they're going to roll with Mitchell Robinson. Okay. With that being said, all of the talk coming out of the camp about Mitchell Robinson not being there, I think that was primarily because of his whole baby issue, not getting the baby sick and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really feed into that too much. I don't think there's one clear-cut person in this draft that the Knicks really, really want.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I'm not feeding into the whole hype about Wiseman and Mitch playing together and on all that stuff. I don't think that's a real thing.
Okay, let me. I just want to jump into the chat real quick because someone said that Tyrese Thomas, Rodney Blaze said Tyrese Thomas is like Mitch. I don't think so. Tyrese Thomas had a post-up game. He used to shoot mid-range jump shots. I remember when he came to the Knicks. I don't think he was like Mitch at all. I don't even know did Tom Thibodeau coach Tyrese Thomas? I guess maybe he did. And then someone said Joakim Noah. I so totally agree when people say Joakim Noah. Joakim Noah to me is nothing like Joakim Noah is not a rim runner. He really is not. I mean, Joakim Noah catch the ball and passes from the post, can facilitate the offense. Right now in his career, Mitch Robinson is a rim runner and a shot blocker. That's it. Joakim Noah was way more than that. So I don't. And that's exactly what when I say Tom Thibodeau is used to having centers that play a little bit different than Mitch. I'm talking about like the Joakim Noah guys, right, who can pass from that pass from the elbow, pass from the foul line. Joakim Noah is not really a shooter, but guys that post up a little bit. I know the game has changed. I'm not saying that they don't like Mitchell Robinson. I'm just questioning with Tom Thibodeau and how he's used his players. You know what I mean?
There is a question about Mitchell Robinson though. We brought it up on many occasions about that cornerstone thing and everything like that. There is some questions, and the key thing is he's coming up on getting paid soon. So that's the thing. Evergreen, you mentioned them. Potentially one guy being on the bench and the other guy, starting. I think when it comes down to who's getting paid more and the whole contract thing, I don't think that's necessarily going to work out. Because Mitchell Robinson's going to want his money. He's going to want his money. And why would the Knicks put that much money into an investment that he's putting him on the bench?
He's got to earn it. Let me get to this phone call, and I'm going to come back to Mark and Andy. All right. Caller, you live. What's popping?
Hey, this is Raw Hebrew Rebbe.
Hey, what's going on with you, my friend? Hey, I love your channel, man. Brother? I love what you're doing with your channel, bro.
Too. I love yours first.
Look, hey, my man is doing it for solo, ladies and gentlemen. Just go check out his channel. All you gotta do is find him in the chat, click on his name, and you can find his channel. Go check out his channel. He gives you great Knicks content almost every day. So,
thank you, man.
Doing a great job, man. What's going on with you, bro?
All the time. I comment.
A couple things, man. Just a couple things, real quick. Number one, all this whole discussion, as you are aware, comes from a Mark Berman article, right? So we know, really, I'm just saying, we know that Mark sometimes puts stuff out of his butt and puts it on print. So we got to take that with a grain of salt. That's number one. Number two, with regard to Mitchell Robinson,
okay,
I'm looking at it like this. When somebody takes a player like a Mitchell Robinson, and he just finished his second year, you're investing time and money in this player. Okay, and as Knicks fans, I think we all agree that the Knicks have not done a very good job developing any of the guys that they drafted. So to say now we're ready to, trade him or bring in Wiseman, now what you're really saying is you are starting over with James Wiseman. You're going to start over from getting, because he is going to be a rookie center. He's going to commit stupid fouls. He's going to have to learn the game just like Mitchell Robinson did. Okay, so you just brought in Kenny Payne. I'm just thinking it doesn't make any sense to make a move for a Wiseman unless you're going to turn around and trade him to another team that desperately wants a guy of his skill set. It doesn't make sense to give up on what you want, because if we do that, we're the same old Knicks. We got a guy in the second round, even if you don't think he's a cornerstone. What we all can agree on is the boy is talented. He's got talent. We got him in the second round. He's a first-round talent out of that draft class if you look back on it. So that being the case, I think we need to give him at least all of the guys that we just drafted, at least this year with this new staff, to see what we have before we – because I don't really – and this is just me. I don't see any player in this draft worth jumping up the board to try to trade for, worth giving up picks for, or anything like that. Next year – you're talking about Cade Cunningham, you're talking about Jalen Green, you're talking about a whole bunch of guys. I can name 5, 6, 7 guys next year that would be better than all of these guys probably as far as upside and potential. So this is a situation where you want to really, I'm thinking you want to be more as safe as you can Pick something that you can plug and play, and that's why I like Vassell. I don't have a problem with Sadiq Bey. There's a lot of guys like that, but to try to make some crazy moves to trade up for somebody that next year you're going to have a better opportunity, and you don't even know what you have with the players that you've already drafted. You haven't even taken the time to develop them. Right. It makes no sense to me.
I'm not sure. I'm not asking or saying should the Knicks move up to get James Wiseman. And I'm just asking
but
because
move down.
I'm just
falls to us. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying if he falls to us at 8, which I doubt he's. First of all, we're talking a real big hypothetical. It's very unlikely that James Wiseman's going to fall to 8. It's very unlikely, and that's another thing. Berman writes in his article. He gives it. This is how he writes. He gives an implication that because Mitchell Robinson was not at the voluntary workout. Oh, there might be something amiss here. Maybe the Knicks are souring on. He doesn't say that, but he gives that impression. And I don't like when he does it. It just drives me crazy, man. That's all I'm saying. It just drives me crazy.
So you think the Knicks hold a lot of value with Mitch?
Well, to me, I'm thinking because they've invested 2 years in him, and in the 2 years, just talking about a 5 that was top 10 in his first 2 years in block shots. Just set the record for field goal percentage. And I know people don't value that, but, there've been a lot. Rudy Gobert didn't shoot that kind of field goal percentage. You got a lot of guys before him that were big guys that never shot 74% from the field. So you got to give this kid under the right tutelage sometimes see what he can do. Not only that, Sim, let me ask you a question, man. Mm-hmm. I respect you as a basketball analysis. Have you ever seen a guy cover ground from under the basket to the three-point line on a defensive end like this kid?
I tell you, I've never seen someone that can cover that amount of ground and getting out the block shots the way that Mitch does. Never.
If he's not even, if he can't do anything but run the rim and do that, and to me that's worth keeping. I'm not saying he's a max player, but I'm saying I'm not trading that after we just plucked him in the second round and it's like we stepped in crap and we got this kid. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we can do with it.
All right.
Listen. I love your show, man. You the man.
I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna keep following what you do, and call him. Definitely call him more often. Everybody, make sure that you go check out his channel. It's easy to get to. You're in the chat. Click on his name. You'll get to his channel. Let me get to another call here. Caller, you live. What's popping? Hello. Hey, yo. You there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, my friend. What's popping with you?
I was calling in to. By the way, great show. Love you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was calling in to give a slightly different perspective about team needs.
Okay.
Oftentimes, when I watch you guys and some other pods, they'll say that we need the outside shooting and defense. From my perspective, I feel like the Knicks need shot creation, probably first and foremost. If you think about our squad last year, Bullock, Ellington, Portis, who am I missing? I think there's another person on that list. Even Mook. Those are all very good spot-up shooters. Mook had a career year, but the rest of them, they all shot way below their percentages for their careers, because what happened on the Knicks is that they weren't getting the same kind of clean looks that they're used to. They're very dependent on either somebody that can draw the defense and get them those clean looks and create those opportunities. We just don't have that kind of player. If you think about us running the pick and roll, which guard on the team can run a pick and roll and can score? Or can score if they go under the screen, or if they do drop coverage. Who do we have confidence that is going to be able to effectively get us the bucket on drop coverage, or if they go under the screen on the pick and roll?
Right now you don't have anyone who's consistent with it, right? You've seen Frank be able to pull up off that screen and roll and knock down that mid-range jump shot from time to time.
Yeah, off the mid-range, right? But at the three-point line, Frank's probably the best at it, and that's kind of sad. Frank's the best at it. That he's getting a little bit more comfortable if he moves in the mid-range area. But it's still, in terms of comparing it to what we see in the bubble, like in terms of high effective, if you look at their points per possession as ball handlers, we're terrible. So yeah, Frank's the best at it, but that's not NBA good enough. You know, so I feel like that's what we should be targeting when we're looking at prospects is guys that can take advantage of drop coverage, because that's what the NBA is at. You know, you're not always going to be able to get all the way to the rim. You know, you're not. You know, you got to be a good fit. That's why I'm high on Killian Hayes, and if we can't get him, another guy I'm high on is Tyrell Terry.
That's what Mark was just talking about.
Because of that specific reason, I feel those guys will be able to get spot up shooters open. Look, I don't want to draft us. I love Hayes. I mean, I love Vassell. I had Vassell as like a sleeper back in the start of the season, back when he was a second-round pick. Now, as an eighth-round pick, the value is just not there for me. I don't want a guy that another specialist. He's a specialist to me right now. He's a 3D guy. We need guys that's gonna get those guys clean looks.
Right. So then you're so are you in favor? So are you in favor of dropping back?
If Hayes is not there, I would drop back, and it depends on what we're getting back in return. And then this is a decision that has to be made on draft day. I believe there's a certain period of time on draft day that you can no longer just trade picks. You pretty much have to make a deal depending on if your player's there. So you're gonna have to promise, okay, I'll take this guy for you, and then you take this guy for me. Those are the type of deals that happens on draft day, and that's what it's gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be if both parties, their guys are there, and you have to be willing to accept the player that you pick if your guy is not, you know, if the deal doesn't break through because your guy didn't drop to where you thought it would drop. But I don't think you can blindly go into this draft just unless the player that they're giving you back, aside from the big, you really like.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, my man, I appreciate your call. Appreciate the call. Let me get to Mark and Andy. All right, and see what these guys talking about, and then I want to move on to talking about, you know, Tyrese Maxey, Kenny Payne. You know, is there anything really to it, or is it just talk? You know, so Mark, coming to you, Mark. What's going on, man?
So, this is what bothers me with the Tyler Maxey. Not saying the kid don't got game, but you brought in this guy and that type of connection. I get it. Do I want him? No. I would prefer, if you're going to trade up down there, I'm going to take Tyler Perry before I take him, because this kid is more of a shooter, more of a passer, a heady, high IQ player, just like the caller said. And this kid just grew from 6'1" to 6'3". He was coming from 150, now he's 175. This kid, I'm telling you, I would start him in my point guard the day I draft him, because he can be that good because of the jump shot. And I'm talking about range, Sim. I'm talking about pull-up range. Maxey don't got that pulling off the dribble. This kid is a bona fide shooter. Mm-hmm. But I want to go back to the Mitch Wiseman
and his
situation. So,
and you're talking about Tyrell Terry. You keep saying Tyler.
Tyrell.
It's not Tyler Perry. It's Tyrell Terry. Not Tyler Perry. Not Tyler Perry. Tyrell Terry.
Tyrell Terry. My bad. Yeah, that kid.
You're not the only one. I keep seeing it all over the chat and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, go ahead.
Listen, like I said, so I want to talk about the Mitch and the Wiseman situation, because you guys really got to understand something. Wiseman right now is a better offensive skill talent than Mitchell Robinson. Now, if the Knicks was to trade down, right? Trade up to get him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and this is why the Mitch conversation brought up, it's the money thing, right? It's the money thing. So if we draft Wiseman,
how is it the money thing? How is it the money when you still got 2 years before you really gotta pay Mitch any kind of money? So how's it the money? You still got next year and the year after.
Well, hold on. Well, I think if we're gonna trade up, I think Mitch is in that deal. No doubt about it. If Golden State is willing to trade with us, Mitch is gonna be in that deal. So say sayonara if that happened. And say if we didn't give up Mitch in that deal with Golden State. Do you really think he's gonna beat Wiseman out at that starting spot? Simeon?
No, I don't. I think Wiseman would be. No, I think that Wiseman is right now probably better than Mitch. Just from what I've seen, and it's only been a couple of games, though, I do think that he is probably better than Mitch, but...
Sim, I don't care if it's a couple of games. It's what I've seen and what he's capable of doing. This kid can shoot the 15-footer. He's going to finish every time he's in the paint. He can become a potential shot blocker, and he runs like a gazelle. This ain't no 7'1" Embiid. This is a guy that can run up and down the floor. This is a athletic big we're talking about. He can rim run also, just like Mitch. And the thing is, just like how you say with Tom Thibodeau, he probably value Mitch in some ways, but do he think that he could be your starter? Your starter? Because nowadays in the NBA, you want everybody to do almost everything at every position when you look at the game. If I'm just going to get rim run from Mitch, I might as well just bring him back DeAndre Jordan.
Well, no. No. I mean, Mitch is still on a rise. DeAndre Jordan's going towards the end of his career. You know what I'm saying? I get what you're saying. Right? I think that, I'm gonna just say Hebrew. Like Hebrew was saying, you do gotta give. I mean, if I'm the Knicks,
yeah.
I'm not even really looking at James Wiseman if I'm the Knicks, unless he falls to the 8th pick. I'm not trying to trade up anything. If he fell to the 8th pick miraculously, then obviously I would look, right? But I'm not trying to trade up to do anything like that because I'm looking at Mitch and saying, I think Mitch can be a starter next year. And I want Mitch to grow to be my guy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not even looking that way. Unless it fell, then obviously you have to. Unless he fell, you obviously have to consider him. You know what I'm saying?
This is how I feel what the Knicks are looking at, right? Because this is a start over. Just when I call and say, "Yo, we'll be starting over," we are starting over. Everybody, we have. It's like
how are we starting over? But hold on, how are we starting over?
We have a whole new brass, right? We have a whole new brass, and we have players that are not. Wait, hold on. We have players that are not consistent. So we are starting over because we have to figure out what these players can do individually now, together, with a culture that can implement. So we are starting over.
Well, starting over system-wise. I don't know if you're totally starting over player-wise because you're going to have R.J. Barrett. Mitch is going to be there. Frank is probably going to be there. Kevin Knox is probably going to be there.
Yeah, right? But I think this roster. But okay, Knox regressed, right? Since Knox regressed, he just start over again. Frank Ntilikina, who he is who he is. He can get a little better. Mitchell Robinson he's getting better. He's getting better. And R.J. Barrett, we've seen the first year stint of him. We know he's staying. So if you're talking about those three young guys, we're in the sense of starting over again to see what they can do now with a proper coach.
Well, okay, I get what you're saying there. I get what you're saying.
Because now, when you look at the other roster, right? When you look at the roster, when you talk about the Bobby Portis of the world, these guys are going to get moved. A lot of stuff is going to shift, and it's going to shift quick. So when people are talking about Bobby Portis and Elfrid Payton, erase them from your mind, because this roster ain't staying together, or else we're going to be doing the same thing last year, figuring out what these this team that the players it don't even match up together. The players don't match up with these players. So I think the Knicks are looking like this. If it was on the table to get Wiseman, I think they would do it. Why? Because I'm getting a superior big man, 7'1", that could do everything and score, right? But I also think they prioritize it in 2021 at the end of the day, because I don't think they're looking at the win games, but are we really going to make the playoffs? That's a stretch. So they're looking at it as in, let me get this big man at the center spot. Hold on, sir. Let me get this I'm just giving you a scenario. Because again, 2021, we have that draft and everybody want to be in it. And the Knicks want to be in that draft. There's no doubt about it. So I would rather get me this super talented big man, and I can go get another transcendent player in 2021, and I can have him, RJ, and my big man. And then I could just fill it out. That's how I think that's how they thinking, if that's the case. If they make the move to get Wiseman, that's how they're looking at it.
Okay. Andy, what do you think? Because
the question, because Mark was switching up on all of us.
Yeah, I know. He went to like 57 different things, but I mean, I do think that, I mean, as far as, the whole playoff thing, you're not going to do anything until they're done doing whatever they're going to do with the roster. But, just...
Well, Sim, just to add to this point, I think, I don't know if it was Vegas, but I think the odds for the Knicks winning the championship were the second worst in the whole NBA. It came out today, bro. So bro, I'm upset because I'm feeling the only team behind us is like Detroit was. I could find a couple of teams worse than us. So
yeah. Well, look. So I mean, quickly talk to me about Tyrese Maxey, and then we're gonna switch over to Sportscaster, ladies and gentlemen, and finish this conversation about Dennis Smith Jr. I don't want to say possibly, but Orlando being interested in Dennis Smith Jr. and how that would impact the Knicks trading down. We're gonna continue to talk about that on Sportscaster, so make sure you jump over there to join us. But Andy, Tyrese Maxey, do you have any interest at all in the kid?
Me personally, probably not. I see that he has the connection with the assistant coach Payne, so he might have some props there and stuff like that. But I think personally, if we would be around 8 trade down or wherever, I could find players that would fit my personal style a little bit better, and probably Tibbs' style better as well at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. Please hit that like button for me. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Smash it as hard as you can. Big shout out to Raw Hebrew Remnant. Said, thanks for the time. Said, I love your channel. I love your channel as well, my friend. I appreciate you. Pastor Roy, he's got to bring up the Giants. Pastor Ray, he said, trade Daniel Jones, take Fields and Trevor Lawrence. I don't even feel like talking about the Giants right now. I really don't. I thought that we should have won that game. And anyway, I don't even want to get into it. We'll talk about it. I don't even want to get into it. Right there, ladies and gentlemen, I just put the link to Sportscaster. Make sure you join me on Sportscaster right now. The link is also in the description of this video so that you can jump right on over and join us on Friday. I know I missed last Friday, but I won't miss this Friday. We'll be doing a breakdown on Frank Ntilikina and how Tom Thibodeau will hopefully use Frank Ntilikina. All right, so we'll be doing a breakdown on that. It'll be live on Sportscaster, then uploaded to YouTube. So please jump over to Sportscaster. Follow me on Sportscaster. Follow the entire NBK network on Sportscaster. Andy's in the network. Isaiah's in the network. We got the Legion of Knicks podcast in the network. Die Hard Knicks fan is in the, and Legion of Knicks is Guillermo. Die Hard Knicks fan is in the network, right? So you can go there and you can get all this, just a network of podcasters talking about the New York Knicks, man. So make sure that you join us, subscribe, or follow us over at Sportscaster, right? So the rest of this show is going to be on Sportscaster. I'm now spamming my own YouTube chat. so that you guys can come join us over on Sportscaster as we continue this conversation about Dennis Smith Jr. and the Orlando Magic, and something that Mark said earlier about Markelle Fultz, kind of intrigued me. So we're going to continue to have that discussion. All right, so make sure that you join us over on Sportscaster right now, ladies and gentlemen. Again, the link is in YouTube chat. The link is in the description below. YouTube, I appreciate you. Join us over there. We're signing off of YouTube right now, so let's do it.